Okay, all right. Mustafa Lotfi. All right, welcome. Let's give ourselves a few minutes, expecting others to come. A few minutes. We will quickly we'll quickly go through some stuff. So let's just give ourselves a few minutes for others to join the meeting. When they do, we will start. Okay, Mustafa, if you have any questions, you can type them now. So areas that you're finding very difficult, so you type them now. Let me look at them. I will wait for others to come. Then when we start, I will start with you first. So you can type your questions.
Can you view back the question, that question you shared with me? Because I'm having issues with my email. Yes.
Okay, it's all right. We're about 6 or 5 of us. 5 of us. We're here. So we will start. Let's begin. All right. If you can't hear me, type okay. Okay, it's all right. All right, so I introduced myself last time. I'm George. I'm the mentor for track, officially for track 17 and track 172, and I'm handling a few more tracks on the GCP track. Sorry, the PLG group on, so I'm handling a few more other groups too. Okay, today we will have just an hour. So I'll quickly look at several things, the things I've noticed. Some people were still having issues trying to understand the difference between Quick Labs and GCP, or Quick Labs and GCP and Plural Site. So I'll quickly do a tutorial, go to one of the very quick and fast tutorials that will show us how it really works. So let me share my screen now so that we can start. Okay, before that, let me just take Mustafa's question. He said, I just want to know one thing, the frequency of taking the exam once each month. Well, I don't really know that, okay, yes, I think I do. If you take the exam, let's say you take it for this month, the system, and you don't pass, the system gives, I think, 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending, before you can take it again at your own cost. If you fail that attempt, then you'll be given more time. I think the last one there would have to, if you fail it up to several times, I think you'll be given 6 months or thereabout to come back to the test. So they have such an arrangement. So you can take it as many times, but with each option to take the exam again, you will be given more time between when you failed it and when you will take it again. So you would, anyway, when you take the exam, if you apply for it, they will outline this, and you will be able to know how it will affect you if you don't pass the exam on first trial, and the options that are available to you. So I hope that answered your question, Mustafa. Okay, I'll quickly share my screen if I can find it. Okay, all right, share my desktop. Let me share that one. Okay, let me share my desktop. Okay, okay. Oh, sorry, not this one. Did I shut down myself? Okay, this one here. All right. Let me minimize it a bit. Let's go here and then let me maximize it. Now, the past week, based on the interactions I've had with learners and other participants in the program, I discovered many of us are confusing Quick Labs as a product and Quick Labs used with the Pluralsight, the GADS program. So there are two different things, okay? And then some people, I discovered some people were asking, actually entering their phone numbers and expecting the system to authenticate them using their phone numbers. You're not supposed to do that. So I will quickly go run through this architecting with Kubernetes, working with Cloud Build. Very simple application. Very simple lab. It doesn't take much. A few minutes will be through. Okay. Now, first of all, of course, another thing you guys need to understand is that when you go through the tutorials, you have points at which you'll be showed how to navigate the GCP console, how to handle, how to register, how to use it. Most of us aren't watching those intro videos. And so when we skip them and we go to doing a certain lab, we'll find it difficult to find our way around those labs. So please, it's very important that you watch those introductory labs to introductory videos to Quick Labs and how to use Quick Labs. If you don't, you'll find it difficult. Another thing you need to do is to read through before you start. If you don't, and you don't know what you're doing, it will take you longer than necessary to get the work done, and you'll make a lot of mistakes here and there. Okay, so first thing first, I right click on this and I select copy link location. Then I open a private window, paste it and hit enter. You shouldn't do your labs in your normal browser. If you do, you might have issues if you have other Gmail accounts that browser also recognizes. So in this case here, I'm signing in with my Pluralsight account details. If you don't sign in with the email you used to sign up in Pluralsight, this will not work because that link is specific to you. So even sharing your link with someone else will not work. You know, the link recognizes your own email and expects your Pluralsight credentials to be used to sign in. So we click sign in here. Okay. Okay, so we are here. So first of all, you read through. You read through what's the objective of the lab. We're going to use Cloud Build to build and push containers. Use container registry to store and deploy containers. You look through. You read through. You read through up to the end. Okay, you read through up to the end. When you do that, you come back to the beginning. And then at times, what I noticed is that as you work with these labs, if you're too quick for the system, it doesn't record your progress properly. So at times when you're trying to provision something, say you're trying to spin up a virtual machine, you need to give it a bit of time. You know, you might see the virtual machine has been spun up. You see the green button, but actually it's still trying to spin up in the background. And so when you click the button to check your progress, you might not get the pass mark as you expect. So we'll click on Start Lab. We'll click on Start Lab. Okay, here you can see my username generated by Quick Labs, the password, and the ID of the project. Now, this is Quick Labs connected to Pluralsight. This is not Quick Labs as a separate product. So I can register on Quick Labs, buy credits, and carry out this labs, carry out these labs. without doing it from Pluralsight. So this Quick Labs is coming to you, or you're getting to this Quick Labs virtue of the fact that you are registered on Pluralsight. So you have free credits to use it. If you were to come in using Quick Labs as a product, you will need to pay. So this is free, but if you come in through the other path, that is going directly to Quick Labs product page to sign up and all that, you will need to pay. Okay, so next thing we do is we click on Open Console. It opens up the console. This is going to be brief. I won't actually go through the labs. I'll just show you how to sign in. Then you go back to first the home page, or the where you started from. You copy the username. You come back here. You paste this here, and then paste this here, and then click next. And it moves. It asks you for your password. And if you can look, if you see, I already have 2 accounts. So if you're not careful and you sign in using any of these, then you won't be able to carry out the labs, because that account is not associated with this lab as far as Quick Labs is concerned and Pluralsight. So I paste the password and it signs me in. I click on the agreement. Then this shows up. Most people made the mistake of clicking on update when they actually should click on confirm. Now, if you read through and if you watched the introductory videos on how to use Quick Labs, you see that you were instructed not to update anything. This account is temporary. After you use this account will be deleted. So it's not your account, so it is nothing to update. So you click confirm. You click confirm. Okay, so give it a few minutes. Okay, so the console is coming up. This is what we refer to as the GCP console. Okay, all right. So when you do this, terms of service will appear. You select that. You select agree and proceed. Okay, so that's that. Now let's go back here. Let's scroll down. Let's scroll up or scroll down, as they say. Okay, so first of all, they said we should check whether the APIs we'll be using are enabled. So come here, come to the top. If you want to type quickly, just come to the top, type API, and you see API and services appears, you click on it. Another way to find that is for you to click here, come down to API and services and click the dashboard. So at times I usually prefer to click here because it does a search and finds it faster for me, kind of. Okay, so now they said we want to check for the API we want to use, whether it's enabled. Now we'll check in the library. What API is that? Let's go down and check Cloud Build API. So we'll come back here and we'll type in Cloud Build. Cloud Build. Okay. Okay, that's Cloud Build. We'll click on it. And then when you click on it, wait a few minutes to check to see if it's enabled. Okay, it is enabled. You see it here. Now, manage, if you want to change some parameters concerning this API, then try this API. This button here will take you to a page where you can make temporary or test API calls to see the results that you will get before you start using the API. It helps you to play around with the API, and it helps you to determine what results you will expect when certain API calls are made. So we leave it at that. We come back here. Now, another API we're supposed to check is the container registry. I will leave you to check that. I know it's already enabled, but you should check. If the lab says you should check, please check, because if it's not enabled and you're trying to work with it, you will have errors. Okay, so the next thing they're expecting us to do is to enable the Cloud Shell. Okay, so we come back here, click here, and the Cloud Shell starts. Okay, Now you click here to continue because this is the first time you're provisioning it on this particular lab. It will always ask you for that. But if you've done it before, you will not see that button. So while the Cloud Shell comes up, we go back to see what are we supposed to run. Okay, here they said create an empty quick start.sha.sh file. Now, using the nano editor. So let's do that. You click here, it copies it. You come back here and the Cloud Shell is ready. You paste it in there and it opens. Okay, you go back here. We're supposed to paste this into the Cloud Shell. So quickly come back here. Control V, paste that. There are several ways to save an edited or a document that has been changed using Nano. You can either say Control O and then you follow the prompts, or you can say Control X and you follow the prompt. Let's use Control O. Control O says the file name is this. You hit enter to save this file name. You could change it if you want. So I hit enter. So it's been saved. So I can continue editing this file. Then if I want to exit this currently open file. If you look at the bottom here, it says this then caret is what is called X. It's the same thing as Control X. So if I press Control X, it closes. Now let me show you another method of closing this file. If I say Control X, okay, that one I didn't edit it, so it didn't bother to ask me if I wanted to save changes. There were no changes made. So that file is there. Now, if you want to know if it's there, you type ls, which is list in Linux, and hit enter. You see the file there? It's present, okay? So because I noticed some people were having issues when they run a command and they discover the command didn't go and the terminal will tell them the error is it can't find that file. The first thing you do is to tap ls, hit enter, and see if where you are in the terminal, the file is actually there. If you're not there, then you need to move to the location using cd command, which is the same thing as change directory. It will take you to where the file is, and of course you have to pass the path to the file, the folder where the file is, for it to change you into or move you into that location so that you can run your different commands from that location. Okay, so let's go back here. Then you have another thing, nano. Now we're doing nano, of course, is what we used before. In this case, now we're creating a Docker file, and the Docker file, we're using a nano editor again to create a Docker file. So let's quickly do that. All right, so the Docker file is opened. This file here is called Docker. Okay, most of us have used Docker, so we should know what Docker file is. So this is what we're supposed to put in that file. Okay, so let's put that in that file. Of course, if you read through the documentation, you will see, I think they explain what the from means, what the copy means, and what this command means. So please go through it, and in the videos, you'll see where it is explained. Okay, so let me use the first method I used before was Control O. Okay, this time I'm going to use Control X, and you see that it's slightly different in the way the file will be saved. So that's it. So it says save modified buffer. If you say no, it will discard the changes and close the file. If you say yes, it will save the file. So I say Shift Y, and it saves the file, and I hit enter and it closes. So let's check again if those files exist. Yeah, you have the Docker file, you have the quick start file, they're all there. Okay, so the next thing we will need to do is to make that .sh file. That file is a bash script file, so you have to make it executable. If you don't make it executable, then you cannot execute it, you know, it will not run. It will simply be an ordinary file. So we need to do that here. So when we do that, it's now executable. Now, if you look at the command here, the command says this chmod means change mode. And then this plus X means add an execution bit to this file. So that's Linux language terms. So this here simply says change the mode of this file by adding an execution bit to it. Okay, so if you do list this, you see that the color of the file has changed. It was formerly just gray, now it is green. So that green tells you that file is an executable file. You can run that file by doing /quick. If you do it that way, the file will run. Okay, if you don't add that execution bit, this and you cannot run it that way. Okay, so that's that. So what else? They said we should do what? We should build this using that file, using that file and then submit it to the Google registry. So let's copy this command and paste it. Okay, the command will start to run. Meanwhile, while the command is running, look at this. Look at this portion here that says Google Cloud Project. That is actually an environmental variable that has been saved in that shell already. So don't think they just wrote this. This actually will change to give us a certain name. That is the Google Cloud Project name, and then Quick Labs image. Okay, so it's what we refer to as a placeholder. It's a variable anyway, so it represents a value. Okay, so when you run that command, that value will be inserted. Okay, so the command ran, and it's been successful, and it's been successful. And we should have an image stored in our registry. So let's go to the Google Cloud registry. That should be under tools. Okay, cloud build, the registry. Let's check for images. Okay, so that's the image there. Okay, that's the image there. Okay, so let's go back, run up, and they tell us several things we need to do to build the container and the rest of them. Okay, I will stop this lab here, and because I'll take your questions concerning it, and then I will do one more run through for something about IAM roles and how you can restrict access to resources using your terminal, and of course how that can be done. So I'll do that. So I'll stop this lab here. Now, assuming I've finished this lab and I want to end the lab, I come here, click End Lab, and click OK. And of course, it will ask me to put in how I feel about the lab. You don't really need to do. Just put that, and the lab has ended. So after a while, everything I have provisioned for this lab will be destroyed and will not be available. So it doesn't persist. If you think it persists, then if you save anything, you'll be surprised you won't come back to see it. Okay, so let me close this. It will ask me if I wanted to close it. I say yes. So let me close this window. Okay, so that's that for that. So I'll stop sharing, and then I'll come and ask and answer your questions. Okay, a lot of people are here. Oga, please hold out your phone. Okay, so please. All right. Do you have questions concerning what we did? If you didn't understand, I can unmute you so that you can speak and ask your questions. Okay, basically what I did there was to show us how to use the the GCP console, and that there's a difference between Quick Labs and Quick Labs product and the Quick Labs access we have when we use Pluralsight. They are not the same. So if you are doing one of these quests on Quick Labs, that's totally different from that of Pluralsight. And like I said, you need to access the Quick Labs windows using the link or page, using the link given to you in your tutorials. If you share that link with someone else, the person will not be able to do that lab, because it expects you to sign in with the Pluralsight email. You don't sign in with any other email. You sign in with the email you used in setting up yourself on Pluralsight. Okay, someone is asking. Kauta is asking. He says, when creating a project ID, do we assign a new name to our project, or we should use the name of the ID on the Cloud Shell when assigning? when creating a project ID. Kauta, it's up to you. It's up to you to decide what ID you want to use. But what you need to know that the ID can be the same with the project name, or it can be different. Now, the cases where it is the same is where the system finds that there's no other project on GCP that has that ID. Then the name and the ID will be the same. But if it finds that there's another project with that same name that you're creating, then it will give you a different ID. Of course, you can change the ID, you know. So when you're creating a project, you will provide a name. The system will now automatically check to see if there's another project with that same name. If there is none, it will assign that project name as your project ID. But if there is, you know, because project IDs are global, if there is, what it will do is it will generate a random project ID and attach it to that project you are creating. But you can always change that if you want to. Okay, I hope I answered your question. Okay, so the next question I'm being asked by Ayo is, the exam voucher, can it be used more than once? No, it cannot be used more than once. I don't think so. I think there's a process. Elders, please keep the noise down a bit, please. There's a process. When you get a voucher, you will have to redeem the voucher. And once you redeem that voucher, you won't have access to using that voucher again to redeem. Redeeming a voucher is not the same thing as taking an exam. Redeem simply means you have attached your ID to that voucher. And so the system sits and waits for you to actually use that voucher to sign up for an exam. And when you do that, it will check to see that identification you're presenting is the same that is associated with that voucher. So that's how it is, okay? I hope that is answered your question. All right, Kauta is asking again, it says, is creating bucket name the same as creating a project ID? What is the best way to get familiarized with the code apart from copying and pasting? Okay, Kauta, creating a project ID is different from creating a project, a bucket. But it's similar in the sense that a bucket's name is also globally unique, just like a project ID is. That means two projects cannot have the same bucket name. Neither can two projects answer the same or use the same project ID. So they are globally, they are unique, but they are different. If I create a project, of course, I think, let me see. Let me see. I think I know where you're coming from. When you create a project and then you're asked to create a bucket, usually for me personally, when I'm doing the labs, I usually use the project ID that is given to me as the name of the bucket. The reason why I'm using that is because that project ID is unique. I'm the only one who has it. So if I use it for a bucket, that bucket also will have a unique name. So bucket names and project names don't clash. They can't clash. Don't worry about clashes. They will not. The fact is one is a bucket, the other one is a project ID. So they don't clash. So you can use your project ID as a bucket name. It will go. But there are some characters, of course, if they are present in your project ID, you cannot use them in your project, in creating a bucket. The system will tell you that. Okay, so any other questions? Okay, while we wait for people to ask questions, let me quickly share something that most of us have not really paid attention to. Guy, that thing is a hallback. The sound is going through, going and coming back. So please kill the volume or reduce the volume, one of them. Okay, sorry about that. Now, most of us are not paying attention. You know, there's this project assistant. I think Joken. He posted a link to a free 30-day quick labs offer. Um, Most of us ignore that offer. Well, I took up that offer and I quickly did the quests. There were two of them. Actually, there were three for data engineer, um, cloud architect, and associate. I did the quick labs for the professional and the associate tracks. And at the end of the day, to my surprise, I got a voucher to take the exam. So most of us should pay attention to such things. So I got, in addition to the voucher, I got 30 days free access to Quick Labs. So I can do anything on Quick Labs now for next 30 days or so. And I also have a voucher that is waiting for me, and I will use that voucher. I'm supposed to use it before December, certain time in December. So even if, for people who are in the program, even if maybe you didn't make it to the final 1,000, that would have been an opportunity for you to have a voucher at 30% discount, you know, for the exam. So let us try and pay attention to such things when they are posted. I think that's one of the reasons why we tell people most of your communication should be done in the groups for now, since we now have groups. For those of us who don't have groups, fine. And then we need to be careful so that we don't miss things that we should naturally see and take advantage of. Okay. Okay. Kauta, what were you confused? What are you talking about? What exactly were you confused? Okay, Kauta, I've asked that you unmute yourself so that you can tell us what actually you said. You said you were confused. Can you tell us what confused you?
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Welcome.
Okay, fine. So when I logged into the Quest challenge, I saw the part for the Associate Cloud Fundamentals and I clicked on it. But when I wanted to try for quick lab, the labs part, I kept getting you didn't have an access code or something. You can't access this without an access code, and I didn't understand why that was showing.
Okay. All right. Sorry. I also had that problem, but what you do in such circumstances, the first thing you do is to contact support. You just click on the chat bot that is there on their site and then put in your details. Somebody will come online and talk to you. So I talked to the support staff there, and he was able to resolve the issue. There's a code you're supposed to use. I think they will provide that code for you. You will enter it and then you go through. And then when you go through, you're supposed to do the IAM lab first. If you do that one, then the 30 days will be unlocked. Sorry you couldn't get that, but on next time, just if you get stuck like that, the first thing you do, just contact their support. You know, you see the chat bot there, click on it, chat with them, they will direct you and help you. So that's how I overcame that matter, you know, so I was able to do that. So let's hope maybe that opportunity will come again. Just watch out. If it does this time around, you can try that. And again, you can still go back and try and see, you know, try that link and see if that opportunity will be there again. And if it's there, see if they will make it available to you so that you can take advantage of it. Yeah. Okay, Kwato, is that okay? Are you okay with that? Yes, that's my okay. All right. So any more questions? Anyone that has had issues, areas you've had issues, so we can quickly address it now. Before I look at the last training I would give you concerning how to play around with the GCP console. Okay, so someone is asking, Informa is asking, I think she can still navigate the platform since she registered before the 30th. Okay, so Carter, someone is saying that you can still have access to that promo. So please go back and try that link. And if you get stuck, click on the chat and chat with their support so that they can assist you. Okay, so like I said, always pay attention. Two things happened to me this week, which I want to share with us. And I pray that you will use the same principle when you are going through, as you go through this program, so that you can take advantage of every opportunity that presents itself. Believe me, opportunities come in very mysterious ways. Okay, I will quickly talk about the one that was posted in one of the groups. Someone posted a series of questions. I've forgotten the learner's name. He asked us some networking questions and some other questions. I knew all. I knew all but one. That one was that of the subnet, where he asked and said, how many nodes or how many machines will be available on a network subnet with a mask of 20, a mask of 22, and a mask of what is 28. I think there were about 4 of them. So I normally, network is a problem for me personally. I know some stuff, but some stuff are still like very funny, and I don't really understand. So at first I answered the other 3. I wanted to leave the 4th one and said, well, I won't answer that one. But later something said to me, try out that question. I did. And in trying out that question, I came to understand subnets. That part of subnet that I didn't understand, I could understand it because he asked that question. So I was expecting most of us on that group to answer that question. Most of us didn't. Only one person attempted. Please go back, look for that question, attempt the question. The more you attempt questions from your colleagues, from plural sites and every other opportunity that presents itself, the more you learn. Please don't avoid questions. If you see questions, find out. Try and, if you see a question and you look at the question and you don't immediately know the answer, that's a challenge and opportunity for you to go search for the answer. So that's that. I will go to the last one. Let me quickly look at the question that Ibitayo is asking. He said, while on a Quick Labs session, I created a new instance. We were told to connect to the instance using SSH. From the SSH terminal, we were asked to run a gcloud command. I was under the impression that I need to download Google SDK on that instance before running the command. The command ran successfully. I went to that site, but was afraid to fill the form because it was asking about my Quick Labs account. I don't want this to have effect on my GADS account and a loss. Okay, Ibitayo. When you create an instance, let me read your question. You were told to connect to the instance using SSH. From the SSH terminal, we were asked to run a gcloud command, and I was under the impression that I needed to download a gcloud command, Google SDK on that instance. No. In this case, it was a Quick Labs session. So there are certain things Quick Lab does for you. You know, there are certain things Quick Lab does for you. In that case, all those things were set up for you already for you to use. You didn't need to do it anymore. But if you were to create yours from scratch, you will need to install those things to be able to use it. You know, that will not be done for you automatically. So that's why you're able to successfully use the gcloud commands on that instance, because that instance, in fact, there are certain things that come by default, you know, and there are others that will not come by default. When you're working in the GCP online, there are certain things that will come by default. When you're working from your computer, there are certain things that will not come by default. You will need to actually put that. So if it's a Quick Labs session you were in, then most likely maybe they set that up for you and prepared it so that when you connect, those things are already there. Okay. If they were not going to be there, then what they would have done would have been to direct you on how to install them so that you can use them to work. Okay. All right, Bitayo, I hope that answers your question. Okay, all right, so all right, let me quickly show us a question that was asked by another learner. I'm going to share my screen again. Show you something that, okay, second question, Bitayo, go ahead. Bitayo, go ahead with the question. Under the first, okay. Okay, maybe I'll mute you so that you will talk faster, if that works. Okay, Bitayo, you can unmute yourself and speak. So,
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Go ahead.
Yeah, concerning the other one that you mentioned, the other side that we were supposed to go to, the one that you said you got
A voucher.
the voucher.
Yeah.
I went there. On getting to that site, they were asking things that I thought would conflict with my GAD 2020 account. So I got scared. I don't want things to.
Okay.
I don't want them to be mixed up. So that's why I didn't do that.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I went there. They asked for it. I just answered. You know, I filled out everything. They're not really very strict. You know, just put in anything there that you feel is reasonable, and then go through. So you don't need to be afraid. It won't conflict with your GADS program. You know, there's no conflict. You know, those are the extra learning opportunities they have said you should take advantage of. So the more labs you have, the more experience you have, and then
I wanted that.
Yes, the easier it is for you to understand the commands and how they work and all that. Okay, so no problem. Just try it again. Someone says it's still available, so try it again, and then fill it out, and then quickly do the labs. You will get a surprise. A voucher will be sent to you in addition to the 30 days that you have. So you can use that. So if you don't make it to the last 1,000, you have a voucher to work with, and you can always take the exam at a 30% discount. It's all right.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, you're welcome.
You're welcome. It's all right. Okay. So Carthor, you're asking, he said, please, I want a better understanding on the cloud engineering. If Google or other cloud provider software, let me say that if Google or other cloud provider provides software and infrastructure as a service for clients with instructions on how to make use of it, what is now the main part of a cloud engineer when clients can just follow instructions or buy what they want? Okay, Kauthar, an engineer is one who helps you to make very good use of the cloud platform. Yes, clients can actually, most things are automated, so you can actually sign on and click on this to create this and create that. But most of us, some of the clients for GCP or AWS or any other cloud platform are business people and management professionals. So they don't really have time for the technical things. So it's your job as an engineer to advise them, maybe as a consultant or as one of their staff, to actually go about provisioning those resources and helping them to utilize it to the best of their ability and, you know, living within their budget. So that's the role you will play. So a lot of the people who do and use these services are management staff, and they are non-technical people. So you are the technical person, and your job there is to direct them on what to do. So I hope that answers your question. Okay. Kauthar, I hope that answers your question. Okay, Kauthar, I hope you heard that. If you didn't, we'll get, okay, it's all right. So let me share my screen. I want to share something with us. Okay, I was telling you about how always have an open mind, and when you see a question, please don't run away from it. Take your time to look at it and try to answer the question. So we have a few minutes left. It's a 1 hour session, so we have a few minutes left. Let me quickly run through. One of our learners asked this question. She said, okay, the learner's name is Tolu Walo Walope. She said, if the question is, the cloud IAM policy uses the rule of least privilege. Does this mean if I give someone the editor role in a project and the viewer role on a resource in the project, the person is granted the viewer role instead? So let's understand this question. The question is in two folds. First of all, she's asking, since the principle of least privilege is what we adopt in GCP, in this case, she's giving the person two roles, one as an editor in the project and as a viewer on a VM instance, on a virtual machine instance. So she's asking which of these roles will take precedence, which one will the person use? First of all, the general role, the role that gives you general access to most of the permissions on GCP is the role that is the one that will take precedence. So in this case, it is the editor role at the project level that will give, that's the permission and the level of authorization that person will have. Now, I want to share with you how I went about answering that question, because when she asked that question, I didn't know the answer. The only point I knew was from the fact that if you are granted admin access to, say, a VM, at the zone level, and then someone now gives you a viewer role, access role at the project level, the one at the project level will not override the one at the VM level. That one I'm aware. But she was now asking a question that was coming from the project level down to the zone level, not the other way around. So I didn't know the answer. So I decided to investigate and find the answer. Let me show you how I went about doing that. Okay, these are the notes I made while I was investigating. First of all, I asked myself, what are the project roles? What are the project roles available? I did that by running this from my terminal. I didn't go on GCP. I didn't do that on GCP. I did that from my computer. So in this command here, gcloud IAM roles list, it's going to list the roles that are available for everything gcloud. But I wanted to have the roles specific to that of projects. So I know projects have 3 primitive roles: the viewer, the editor, and the owner. I was interested in the editor because that's what she asked. Then I now passed the output of this command here, pass the output. Oh gosh, sorry, these files are very funny. Wow. All right, so let me come here. 1 minute, please. I've lost my preview. Okay, I'm back there. Sorry about that. Okay, so if you look here, this command will print out, this command will print out all the roles. Then I now pipe that result into the grep command and tell the grep command to only pick the roles that match these regex. This is the regex. And what it does is it filters. You will use it often, you filter it. So when I run this command, it now gave me the roles that are specific to a project, and the end point of that role is an editor. So I did the same thing for compute, which is for instances. I got the roles, so I knew which roles were available. So the next thing I did was, I had already created a project. So what I did, I added a role and bound this person, which is my other Gmail account, to the project. Because I wanted to see, I was testing out to see which role this person, this user, data mesh projects will be given if they are granted 2 roles, one as the project editor and the other as a compute instance viewer, based on the question that the learner had asked. So when I did that, and this is the result. So after running this command, you will see that here, look at member, the role, the user, members of this collection here. One of them is data mesh, and then the role they are playing is editor, and that's on the project level, this project, a fly trap. Now, I did the same thing for the instance. Now, see the instance command, slightly different, but basically it's the same thing. If you look at the command here, you see member addition and the role. Here, you see the member addition and the role. And then you state which instance you're working on and which zone you're talking about. So this is the result. And then the same thing, membership, and I'm the only member, and then the role. After that, what I did, I now confirmed if truly that was the case. And I did G-Cloud projects, get IAM roles, hey fly trap, and it presented all the roles, and I saw all the roles. Then after adding that particular person, user, with that email account, that's data mesh, and I went and tried to create a VM, and I was able to create a VM using that user. So you see that now confirmed. I was able to say, okay, that means if you're given a more general role, either at the project level or at the, what do you call it, at an instance level, it will still be the same thing. The general role, which is the one that gives you more broader powers, will be the role that you would adopt, in this case. So that was it. Now, I want to quickly show us how to add restrict access based on the question this user asked, how to restrict access to a resource using the IAM roles. So let me come here. All right, let me quickly go to my GCP account. Let me quickly go to my GCP account. We have about 8 minutes or there, about 7 minutes or thereabout. Let me quickly go to my GCP account. Okay, let me come here. Let me go to Compute Engine. Okay, better still, let me access this from my terminal. Okay, so now this is, okay, it's asking me to create, to select a project. Let me select a project. I select this one. Okay. Then I bring up my terminal. So I could easily come here and click on create to create the instance, or I can do it from my terminal. So, but let me do it from my terminal. Okay, so G-Cloud, compute, instances, create. All right, let me give it a name. Let me call it Django. Sorry, Django. And then let me give it a small machine type, F1 micro. That one is the smallest, and so that I don't run up any unnecessary bills. So let me create that one. Okay, it'll take a few minutes to do that. You can offer any options. There are a lot of other options. I mean, command line, the arguments you can pass to it. So it's been created. Okay, so let's come here. Let's refresh this page. So the point I'm trying to make here, in addition to showing you how to do this, is that when you see a question asked by a colleague, a fellow learner, please take your time. Honestly, take your time to try and answer the question. It will help you. Okay, so it's been created. So let's click into it. Okay, let's hide. Okay, let me leave the info panel. Now remember, we're trying to add a user. We're trying to add a user that will give him certain access, and the access we want to give him is VM instance viewer. So you can do that from your terminal, like I showed you here. Here, it can be done here. Where is that? Okay, this is the project, and then this command you see here is what I want to do I want to do the same thing, but this time I'm not doing it on my terminal, on my computer. I want to do it in the GCP console. Okay, so let me do it in the GCP console. All right, so I come here and this is where it can be done. So if you look at it as a member, one member, full access, 3 editors, and a custom instance operator. This is one of the custom rules I created. Okay, it's automatically added to any instance I create. So I want to add a new member. Say you have a friend of yours that you want to give access to your VM to work. You know, maybe he says, oh, please, can you lend me a VM so that I can do some stuff? So in that case, this is what will happen. You type in the person's email, and it must be a valid Gmail account. You can't use Hotmail, you can't use Yahoo, it has to be a Gmail account. When you type in the name here, you come here and you look for that particular role. Okay, so let's look for Compute Engine. We want him to be a viewer only. So let's scroll down, Compute Viewer. There you are. You select that, okay? And then you say save. Okay, he's been added. So this particular viewer, if he signs in, the only thing he can do right now is view this, and this access is only granted for this particular VM. So that's basically a short run on how to do this from the command line. Sorry, from your console. Okay, now we've done this. Let's delete that. Let's delete that. VM we created. Okay, so it's called Django. So let's delete. All right, it's asking if I want to delete. So most times, that's why I said last week, I said, please do your best. Do your best to install the SDK on your system. If you install it on your system, what I'm doing now, you can actually do it too. And the more you do this, the more you get to understand the options and the commands that are available to in the GCP SDK, and it makes it easy for you to understand. Okay, so if I refresh this page, this virtual machine should disappear. Okay, so it's gone. All right. All right. So that is that for that. Okay, do we have questions? Do we have contributions you want to make? By now, what I'm praying and hoping is that each and every one of us should be very comfortable with the GCP console. You should be able to find your way around the console. You shouldn't be struggling on how to use the console. If you are, please let us know so that you can move to the next stage. And like I told us, one of the things, again, briefly, let me talk about that is this leaderboard issue. I notice a lot of people have been complaining about the leaderboard and what it implies and the implications of not being found on the leaderboard. Don't bother yourself with the leaderboard. Bother yourself with, do you know, if you have 80 points on your IQ test, that 80 points, is that where you should be? You know, let it not be that you ought to be at 100. You know you ought to be at 100 because some of the questions you made silly mistakes. So you know, oh, I should be at 100, not 80. Now, if you are supposed to be at 8, if you're at 80 and you know that that is your level, then you have made progress. What you should be planning on is to move from 80 to 100 and beyond. Now, one of the questions I saw someone else ask, he said, if I have a minimum of 100, which is the requirement for phase 2, 110 hours, should I just stop there? I told the person, for your own good, don't stop there, because there are a lot of people who have more than 10 hours and who have more than 100 score on their IQ. So when they want to select, they will now filter you out. You'll be surprised. We had people who had, when I first did this program, we had people who had 240 on the IQ test, but they were not selected in 1,000, part of the 1,000. Now, why weren't they selected? it had to do with some other things like peer group activity. How many learners did you unlock? You know, and those things matter. You know, once in a while, just breeze through. I've seen several people who are always on the channel saying good morning and the rest of them. We are taking note. You know, please do your best. We are very few. Majority of us did not join. You know, very few. Let's pray that these very few will all make it across. And don't think that because you have let's say 300 on your IQ score, and then you never show up in your peer learning group and you expect that you will make it to 1,000. You won't make it. You won't be selected. You know, you won't be selected. So do your very best when you are asked to do something in the group. Do your best. Ask your questions, please. Don't feel any question is too dumb. Please, we are all trying to learn. Believe me, I tell you. If you see the way I danced when I was able to, after answering that network question from one of the learners, and I was able to, in the course of trying to answer that question, I was able to get to know a certain part of networking that I've been struggling for years to understand. If you see how I danced at home, my family were like, is it because of this little thing that you dance? I said, look, do you know how long I've been struggling to understand this part of networking? And this guy asked the question, and because I attempted the question, I was able to, you know, understand it. So please look out for questions. Always be helpful. Go to the cloud channel, the Ask GDG, GADS, GD mentors, and the rest. Ask. When you see people ask questions and there are no mentors there to help, remember you are mentors. Don't think you're not. So when you see people ask questions and there are no mentors there to help out, please, if you know the answers, help out, help the person, ask, interact, you know, make it very personal. Take it and hold the person's hand and get the person to the end point. But remember, in Andela, there's one thing we've been taught. We need to own our learning. That means you need to try your best. Remember, everyone there is trying to, it has a busy schedule and trying to meet up with the requirements and the rest of them. So don't expect anybody to just drop all they're doing and then attend to you. They will attend to you when they have the chance. And sometimes when I look at situations of some people and it's very critical, I will leave what I'm doing. If it's not critical on my own part, I will now take my time to help that person. Okay, just give you 1 minute to ask anything. Somebody's asking a question. Said, Ibitayo, it says, if I attempted twice, 170 and 110, which score is recorded? Ibitayo is 170. But you need to understand what you mean by attempt. Now, when you attempt an IQ test, they have what they call a redo. That redo, sorry, is it a redo or retake? I think it's a redo, they call it, or retake. Man, I've forgotten the terms, but there is an option to retake it. Let me just put it that way. That is, immediately you finish the first one, there will be an option there to retake it. Now, if you use that option and you get a lower score, they will take the higher score. If you get a higher score, they will take the higher score. But if you have taken those two options and then you go for what they call, is it a redo? That is like you're taking it fresh, kind of, after maybe a period, usually a period of 30 days. Then if you get a lower score, that score will be the one you get. So be very, very careful. They will give, I think it's 30 days. In our own time, there were two ways of unlocking it. It's either you hit a certain percentage of your videos, then the thing will unlock itself, or you would be given the normal one option every 30 days. So most of us were, you know, you need to really balance it very well, you know. Now, let me tell you another thing that came from that link that program assistant gave me. It gave me an opportunity to retake the IQ test, even when I've already used up my two options. So if you sign up now with that link that Joaquin provided, and you are able to sign up, you will now see where they will tell you, take your IQ test, check yourself. When you click on it, it will take you to that your IQ. And if you're ready, you can now take that IQ test again. So 3 options. instead of 2 every 30 days. So that's an opportunity. That's what some people didn't know. I didn't know anyway, because after doing the quest, I now saw where they said, take the IQ test. I said, so I have another opportunity. I clicked on it and it took me there and I was able to take the IQ test. So Ibitayo, that is the option. Ibitayo is asking again, he said, though I'm not done with all the main track courses, can I still take the IQ test and is it advisable? Well, Ibitayo, I personally, this is me personally, I usually finish 100% before I take the IQ test. IQ tests are funny. You will see someone who has never even read, who has not even watched a single hour of video, will take the IQ test and hit 200 because they were able to figure out which was the correct answer and which wasn't. You see people who have spent hours doing it and they'll come out, they won't hit that higher score, but that doesn't really matter. What to me matters is that after you take that IQ test, any question you failed, make sure you know why you failed it. Any question you failed, make sure you know why you failed it, so that when you meet that question again or something similar to that question, you won't fail it again. Make sure. Please, always after the IQ test, go back to review your questions. Look at the ones you failed. Find out what you failed, why you failed it. And the ones that you were able to do, you guessed and you got it right. Find out why that answer you picked was right, so that when you meet it next time, it won't be new to you, you know. So that's my advice. Okay, Ayo says it is called a retake. So a retake is the one you would, I think, Ayo, if I'm not mistaken, is the one you take soon after you take a current test. It's an opportunity for you to better your score. When you miss that opportunity, you won't have it again till 30 days after. Then after 30 days, they will present you with 2 more options again. Most of us will be retaking ours, I think, 20 something up, based on those that have already taken. So just get yourself ready and do what you can. Okay. Dulapo is asking, thanks for answering. Okay, download Zoom because of meetings, so I don't set it up yet. Thanks once again. Okay. All right. So that's about all for today. I wish us well. We're entering phase 2. Phase 2 is going to be tougher. Please. Phase 2 is going to be tougher. You'll be expected to hit expert level in your IQ scores. That is, you mustn't score anything less than 200. So please crack your brain, ask me questions, drop the questions in the group, drop them in the cloud, drop them, let people help you out. If you're stuck anywhere, please. I've told you about my experience. I know when you help, you learn. That's the one I've learned. So when you ask questions, I look at it. If I can't give you the answer immediately, that means I don't know it. And that's an opportunity for me to know. I go back, sit down, I research, you know, get the answer, come back, answer the question. And in doing that, I have also answered that question. Then another thing you need to do is always write down your answer, that is your process, how you went about doing it, so that you can blog about it. Believe me, you'll be surprised the number of people that will benefit from that, your blog. When you blog out and say, okay, this is how I was able to do this while doing this program. And you'll be surprised the number of people that will say, oh, I also have this problem. Thank God someone has solved it. And from there, people know someone like you exists, and they'll oh, we have someone like that, and will take you more serious. So any last question before we round up? Okay, someone is asking, Kauta is asking, are past questions available before taking the IQ test? See, these IQ tests are very tricky. Let me just tell you what I know about the IQ test. They try to avoid, first of all, when you take this IQ test, you will not be allowed to talk about the questions after the IQ test. You will sign an agreement. And if you ever post anything that makes references to certain specific questions on that IQ test, you will lose your license. Just be sure of that one. Now, in the light of this, they usually don't give questions, they don't even give questions overly similar to what you'll be facing that day. That's the one you will not see. But yes, if you look at the Google Online, you will see where they will give you, I think it's up to a set of questions, preparation. It's part of the preparation. Check it. You click, the link will take you to where you see 23 questions. Yeah, those are the questions. Then there's a link I posted. I will try and post it again. It takes you to a site where you have quizzes of up to 213 questions. Someone, just random question, the person will ask and answer. So you can just be flipping through. They call them, they are flashcards. They are flashcards. And now I posted that link. We have that on a roadmap for GCP learners. I would look at it and see how we can post it. I think I posted it before, but I'll check and see and post it. So you can use that to, do some practice, that kind of stuff. Okay. But there are exam simulators. Okay, someone is answering that. Yeah, the exam simulators, that's the one I was referring to. It has about 23 questions or thereabout. I think there are others online you buy. But nonetheless, and then this is what at least from reading, this one is some questions, like the main exam is like 50 questions. Not all the questions come with a point, if you understand what I mean. Like you have 50 questions, 25 or 30 questions there, or even 40 might be the actual ones that come with points. The other ones are just for, if I use the Nigerian term, dabo. That is, they just put it there. You understand, like filler, to fill up something. So, but don't be scared. Don't be scared. We all will be taking the exam. Don't be scared. Just play around. Don't avoid questions. I tell you, you avoid any question, I bet you the first question you see that day will be that question you avoided. So don't avoid questions. When people ask questions, if you don't know it, fine. Go back, research, come back, make your contributions. Others will do their research and come and contribute, and we'll all learn together. Let us do our best to build that GCP space here in Africa. Because I tell you, I know that eventually things are coming to Africa. We need to be ready to take advantage of them. So this is an opportunity that has been given to us. I hope you make very good use of it. Okay, so Ifoma is asking, that's the last question I'll take before we close for the day. We're already over time. Are the modules we've learned from learning phase 1 enough for the ACE certification exam? Yes, to an extent it is, but no, to an extent it's not. And if I may share this with you, I noticed there are slight changes in what we are learning now. In my own time, the emphasis wasn't so much on Kubernetes, but the way they are emphasizing Kubernetes these days, it appears that will be a major part of the exam. So you need to take it serious. But and then another thing I noticed this time around, in our own time, they didn't put business. They weren't so into business side of the whole matter. But this time around, it's been included. So things change. They change their curriculum from time to time. So just follow. But if you go through the phase 1 and you're very, very comfortable, then I believe you are halfway over the fence. You are halfway over the fence. So if you hit it up with the second phase, you should be able to do that. So like I told you people last time, please do your best to finish all your quick labs, because there's a stage you'll get to, you'll be asked to have 100% completion on quick labs. So if you have already done it now, it will be easy for you then. So do it now so that you make all the mistakes you can make. So then it will just be flowing when it is time for you to present it as one of the requirements to cross to the next stage. Okay, so okay, so someone is saying yes, that deep dive actually has some other things. Yes, I suspect, because the way they are emphasizing on Kubernetes these days, it appears it will play a major role in the exam and all that. So let me leave us here. Today is Saturday. Let me leave us so that we can go back home. Some of us are already at home. I'm not at home, so I can get back home and stick with my family. And we'll see on Monday. I'm around in the nights. I usually wake up in the night and I'm on Slack checking out and trying to help out and the rest. That's the best time I can read when my kids are sleeping so that they don't bother me that much. So just you'll see me. I'm always crawling around looking out for active members. Don't worry, we'll all get there. Just do your best. Forget about the leaderboard. Do your best. Don't let the leaderboard direct you, because most people were really complaining about the leaderboard, but don't bother. Don't worry. In our own time, most people who didn't even make it to the 1,000 were the people who even got certified before the rest of us. So it might happen in your case. So I wish you all a happy weekend and see you on Monday. Bye-bye.